If you're about to start an agency, or maybe you already started an agency, you're not doing these 5 things, it's going to be very, very difficult for you to actually scale and build a business. So what step 0 really is reducing load. Your business and the decisions that you're gonna have to make for your business require a lot of energy. And for us, energy is a scarce resource, okay? And so we don't want to be wasting energy on shit that doesn't matter. So the 5 things in this video is basically just going to show you how you can reduce load and actually put more time and attention towards business. So if you haven't started yet, you need to do all of these things before starting, okay? Because if you actually do all of these things, you're going to have so much more energy to put directly into your business. The first one is make less decisions, okay? And this is because of something called decision fatigue. Decision fatigue happens when you've made so many decisions that you don't have enough cognitive energy left to actually make any more critical decisions. So when you're faced with new decisions, all you're really doing is you're going to actually make the wrong decision, or you're going to default back to what you regularly do, which is typically going to be some sort of bad habit. And most people accumulate decision fatigue and use a bunch of energy on decisions that do not matter, okay? And so this is why making less decisions is so important. The most mundane and simple shit, like what should I eat for breakfast? Should I eat breakfast? Should I fast today? Where are my keys? How do I do this? How do I do that? What should I wear today? All these very simple and mundane things create a lot of decision fatigue in our minds, okay? And that's gonna really bother you when it's maybe later in the day, you get home from work, you get home from school, and you have to work on the agency, but you've already used up so much decision fatigue that it's gonna be really hard to actually put in meaningful work. And so the main way to not accumulate decision fatigue and not make a lot of decisions really is to do less stuff. And so that's actually the second point, is doing less stuff, okay? Most people always think, what more can I do? How can I do this extra? How can I go above and beyond? How can I talk to some new people? What else can I do? What else can I read? What other shows can I watch, right? Everybody wants to do more, but to make less decisions, you have to do less stuff. And in its essence, what doing less stuff is sacrificing. And obviously sacrificing is hard, and you have to look at it like chess. So you have to sacrifice some pieces to win the game. And for this, I like to use the 80-20 rule, okay? 80% of the benefits that you will get will come from taking away things and sacrificing things, okay? And only 20% will come from adding new important things, right? So there's adding in stuff that doesn't matter, like you want to go binge watch a show, and then there's adding in stuff that can be very, very valuable, like some new training program. That's great, but that's only 20%. 80% of the way that you're going to reduce load and actually get benefits is from sacrificing things. And if you're really trying to focus and trying to move the needle on something really, really important, I would go into what Alex Ramondi would call a season of no. And this is basically a season that's maybe a few months, maybe a few years, where you just say no to every opportunity, except for the one thing that you're basically just going all in on. And the way you can actually tell if you're good at sacrificing is, are you a no person or are you a yes person? Are you a person that really struggles to say no and you say yes to most things, even if you don't really want to do them, you do them anyway? Or are you constantly saying no? Maybe you're kind of already without even knowing it, in what Alex Ramondi would call a season of no. The more you say no, obviously the better that you are at sacrificing. But most people think they're sacrificing, but they're not actually. Sacrificing something that you didn't really want to do anyway. Maybe your friends invited you out, but you didn't want to go, you wanted to work instead. Or you're sacrificing going and watching a new movie. That's not really sacrificing. What Sam Evans would call real sacrificing is basically something that you really want to do with every single ounce of you. It's something you're 100% super interested in and you really want to do. And you can say no to that. That's actual sacrifice. That's when you're actually sacrificing and getting that 80% of benefits is when you're actually sacrificing things that you really, really wanted to do. The third thing you can do is make one decision that removes future decisions, okay? This relates to the first one, and it's actually very, very powerful for reducing the amount of decisions that you have to make. Because obviously, if you're making less decisions, the decisions that you actually do make are going to be much better. And Warren Buffett talks about all he has to do now, after 67 years, is make 1 or 2 really good decisions per year, okay? And so obviously the reason he can make those really good decisions is because he has reduced load and he doesn't have a lot of decisions to make. So he can fully focus on the decisions that are important. And the way that you can do that for your agency is making one decision now that is going to reduce the amount of decisions that you have to make in the future. And this is where you can get ahead of a lot of people. Most people have to decide when they want to wake up, when they want to go to bed, what they're going to wear, what socks, what hat, what shirts, what shoes, everything like that. Most people don't have that planned out, and just on the fly, they have to, use some brain points and get some decision fatigue just by doing that type of stuff, okay? And so the way brain points work is, for example, you start the day with 100 brain points, and then you go to your wardrobe and you have to decide what you wear. That's going to take away like 15 brain points, right? So you're only going to be at 85. but then you have to go to school and maybe something happens at school, you have to make some decisions. You go down to maybe 30. A long day at school, you have 30 out of 100 brain points. So now at work, working at your agency, you only have 30 brain points left. And then maybe you have to decide what deep work you're actually going to do. That could take 25 brain points. So for all of your deep work, where you actually have to do the needle moving action, you only have 5 brain points of the 100 that you started with, okay? So the 4 decisions that you can make one time that are going to repeat and they're really, really important are what time you're going to wake up, when to do your really big needle moving deep work, what you're going to wear every day, and what you're going to eat and drink every day, okay? Those 4 are really, really important, okay? So if you can do those 4, plan out what you're going to wear every single day. So for me, like I just bought like a bunch of these shirts in different colors, so I don't have to think about what I'm going to wear. I just grab one of the shirts that looks the same and I wear that. And I have the same thing with shorts. I'm waking up every day, 4:45 a.m. I'm doing my deep work, 4:45 a.m. to 6:30 a.m. And then later in the day, around 8 a.m., I'll do more because it's light outside so I can record. And I know what I'm going to eat every single day, okay? Those 4 things are going to help me so much. But then another thing you can do to actually level up, go one step above, is plan out your day in 15-minute increments, okay? So I'll just do this on the notes app. I talk about this so much on the notes app. Have 2 columns, one with the time, so like 4:45, 5, 5:15, 5:30, all the way down to when you're going to go to bed. And then on the right hand side, basically just everything that you're going to be doing in those times. The 4th thing is having a low maintenance life, okay? And basically with this, you have to choose. You have to choose whether you want a complex business life and a simple personal life, or a complex personal life and a simple business life, okay? And when I say complex business life, that does sound bad because obviously with your business, you want to keep it simple and you want to just have a proven system that you're using because obviously simple scales, complex fails, but that's not what I'm talking about. Obviously, you don't want to have a complex business, but having a successful business is complex in of itself, okay? There's constantly decisions that you have to make, and it's not really about the complexity of it. It's more just about how much energy it takes and how much brain points and how much decision fatigue is going to cluster up, okay? Maybe if you're starting an agency, all you really have to focus on is posting content, doing cold calls, doing sales calls, learning service delivery. Like there's really nothing else that you need to be doing right now. And that on paper is very simple, but it's not. Because of all the resistance and all the paradigm shifts and all the new things that you have to be learning and taking into your paradigm, it's going to become complex. Even though the business is simple, which is what you want it to be, it's going to be complex, okay? And you can't have complex business life and complex personal life, right? Because this business stuff, all the cold calls, all the resistance, everything like that, is going to take up so much of your energy that if you have a really complex personal life as well, you're just not going to be able to do both, okay? So you have to choose simple personal life, complex business life, or complex personal life, simple business life. And simple business life means you're not doing well. Complex means you have the ability to do well. And typically, this complex personal life scales with the amount of money that you're making, right? So look at Michael Jordan. At the peak of his career, he was a millionaire, he was balling, so much money, and very, very complex in terms of the business life, which was obviously basketball. He was spending a lot of time on that. That was his complex thing. But then his personal life became complex as well. He became a big degenerate gambler. He was partying a lot. And then what happened to him? Obviously, as you would probably know, he became bankrupt, which is obviously terrible. And that's because he had this simple business life, or not business, but simple basketball life. And then he also made his personal life complex like his basketball life. And with these 2 things being super complex, he crumbled and he fell into bankruptcy. And there's actually a really good quote from Stephen Covey, and that's, the main thing is to keep the main thing, which is completely true, okay? You want to keep the complex business life complex, and by complex, obviously we know it means a simple business, but complex in terms of resistance and shit like that. Complex business life, simple personal life, okay? You don't want it the other way around, because if you have this complex personal life, you're not keeping the main thing. The choice is completely up to you on which side you want to be complex. If you want the business life to be complex and the personal life to be simple, you do that by doing the other things in this video. The 5th thing is limit surface area. You want less people to be able to talk to you and less people have input on the things that you're doing. People with terrible paradigms and misunderstandings about subjects can lead you off track completely, okay? So let's say, for example, you want to start an agency in SMMA and then you go talk to your mom about it. And your mom tells you it's a terrible idea, it's saturated, it's a bad thing, salesmen are scummy, she hates them, and because of that, you don't. That could have been successful. That could have been your financial freedom, her financial freedom, your future. But because of that input, because you increased your surface area too far, you got bad input by someone with a misinformed paradigm, and because of that, you didn't do something that could have been successful for you. And so you should limit surface area in terms of people who really are kind of misinformed and don't have a good paradigm and understanding of it. But for the people that you do listen to, like for example, for me, building what I'm building, I'm listening to a lot of Charlie Morgan and Sam Evans. For them, I'm not increasing the surface area because it's just two people, but on both of them, I'm going very deep on what they're saying. And I'm kind of trying to look at everything that they're saying. You're the average of the 5 people that you're around the most, but nowadays, you're the average of the 5 people who you consume the most. So what you should do is unsubscribe from everybody on YouTube, except for around 5 to 10 people who you actually think are really valuable and make really good content and actually help you. You should get off Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, whatever, all the social medias. You should be getting off them. And when it comes to your real life friends, don't talk to them about the things that you're doing. You shouldn't get their input on them, because getting input on things that you're doing from people who aren't where you want to be is going to increase your surface area, and typically it's going to be bad for the business. So these 5 things are basically step 0. You want to basically just reduce all the load that you're taking on before you actually start the business, so you can have, as we talked about, that complex business life and that simple personal life, okay? So if you enjoyed this, please do all the YouTube stuff, comment, like, everything like that, and I'll see you in the next one, okay? Bye-bye.